Well, hey everybody, I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside, and I wanted to do a little magical musings here. I'm going to talk today about using herbal incense for protection and purification. Now, incense can be made in a variety of ways. You can, mush it together, you can form it into cones, you can do all kinds of things with it. One way that I did it, I just do these little discs, just very thin discs that I can then set on a piece of ritual charcoal, as you can see. Not charcoal briquettes, mind you. You have to get ritual charcoal. You can get it through Amazon. You can pretty much get it anywhere. Religious supply stores have it. But basically, you light that and let it, get its nice burn to it. And you'll see it. It'll flicker and sparkle and all kinds of stuff that it does when it starts to get going. And sometimes it's tough to get it going. You can use like tongs you would use for like picking up hot dogs out of a off of a grill or whatever. You can use tongs to hold on to it while you're lighting it to try to get the edges all lit up. But otherwise, sometimes it takes forever to get started, but that's what you're going to be burning it on. And you can either take loose herbs and either use one or more, and you can grind them together if you want to. They don't have to be powdered, although sometimes it's easier, especially if you're going to, make little incense discs. This is just a general cleansing and purification deal. And the stiction I used for it was honey. There's other things you can use as well, but for that one I just mixed them in honey. I flattened them out and let them dry. And they burn really well, and they're nice. So they smell good. And I don't remember what I put in this one, but I know there's sandalwood in it, and probably a little mugwort and stuff like that. But I didn't put a whole lot of stuff in it. But I made them a long time ago, and I don't remember. But anyway, I got out a Hyjon root. They're kind of hard to work with a little bit. You can scrape the root off of them. You don't want to ingest Hyjon either, by the way. But anyway, you can use Hyjon for protection as well. Here's a little piece of dragon's blood that you can also scrape off of, and you can make ritual oils with it. But again, it can be used as incense. But anyway, I'm going to talk about the different herbs and the resins and woods that you can use here. The cool part about it is the reason why we burn incense is that what we're doing is we're trying, especially within ritual or spell work, we're trying to raise vibratory energies by cleansing impurities and negative energies or entities from the space we're in at the time. It can also be burned as a means of casting the intention of the working, either to the universe or to a situation you're trying to influence, or to an individual or individuals. It just depends on what your focus is, really. But when creating a loose herbal incense blend, again, you can grind them at the time of the ritual and make that part of the ritual itself. And then what you grind then as you're chanting, you can then put it onto the charcoal and release and basically cast the intention at that time to whatever you're doing, right? But if you're going to use powdered herbs, honestly, you're going to be grinding with a grinder, like a coffee grinder or something, to powder them up. That's the easiest way to do it. That's going to be noisy. So I just recommend, if you're going to be using powders, get your powders ready ahead of time, have them in little bowls, and then just add them as you go as part of your ritual. But right now, I'm just thinking that we have so much negativity going on. There's so much of this believing things that are not true. And I think that when that happens, it's a sign that the ego has taken over. And what we need to do is transmute the ego into spirit. And one way to do that, of course, is through burning herbs. So, and resins. So anyhow, I just wanted to go over the different herbs that you can use. For this first grouping, we're going to talk about protection and courage. Basil is a fire element herb. It can be used borage. Now, borage leaf, that's an air element herb. You can place but they also have the cool 5-pointed blue stars for the flowers. You can use that in your herbal mix that you're going to, and this is not one you're going to like combine with honey or any other kind of fixative to make it stay in this is just going to be loose incense we're talking about here. So anyway, in other words, you're not going to be making, the incense pieces with it. But anyway, this is just loose stuff. But while you're using that to make the incense, the blue flowers can be put around on your altar or workspace wherever you are, and you can just use that for additional effect, really. Comfrey is a protection herb. Borage is about courage, by the way, and giving you that extra oomph to meet, the challenges head on. Comfrey, another earth element, or a earth element, because we haven't said any yet. Comfrey, or earth element herb, that one, you can burn that one for energy vampires. If you feel like you've got this intrusive energy coming around you, you can, as a protection herb, you can burn that on some charcoal for that. Garlic is the typical one. We can't forget garlic. You can burn it. You can powder it up and burn it. Let's see. Horehound is an air element herb, and that can be burned for protection. Nettle, fire, is a fire herb, also protection. Mugwort, again, another earth element herb. That's a protection herb. And wormwood, also an earth element herb, that can be burned for protection. Now, both protection and purification. Hyssop is a fire herb. Lavender is a water herb. Rosemary, an air herb. Vervain, which is a nice druid herb to use. It's a sacred druid herb. That's an earth element herb. That's also both protection and purification. And then a nice smudge, one that I like to do if I've got everything. I like to take mugwort, some long pieces of mugwort, about yay long, and the same for lavender. Just cut it and dry it. Well, you don't even have to dry it really. You can do them wet and then let them dry that way, or wet, fresh. Rosemary the same, but I cut them about 6-8 inches long. I don't know if I have. No, I think they're out in the other room. Otherwise, I'd show you. But I like to put mugwort, lavender, rosemary, and sage, white sage. Or I live on the high desert, and so I have wild sage growing around. And so sometimes I'll go up and I'll just clip off some pieces of that and include that in there as well. Sometimes my white sage doesn't do as well. I've got it right now in a tent growing inside. I've got a couple of them, and one is just humongous, and it loves LED lighting. So white sage is kind of delicate, and so maybe if you live in an area like I do, I live up on the high desert at about 3,000 feet above sea level, it doesn't do well outside, not the white ceremonial sage. So I brought it in the last couple years, and it does much better inside than it does outside. So anyway, but that's a really good herb to use. But again, I've used the sage that I just have growing naturally around here, and that's also very cool. So the purification or cleansing herbs, angelica root, that's a fire element herb. That's one. Chamomile, which is water. Pine needles, that's air, and that's for cleansing negativity. Red clover, also an air, that's also the same. You can take the red clover flowers and dry them, and then pull all the little, well, they powder up really well, and they also grind up really well, but you'd remove the little leaves off the little petals, rather, not the leaves, but the petals off of the green part of it. Just remove those and use those. Also, sages, both clary sage and white sage. Clary sage is very cool. It's a little different. It's still a salvia, but it's different than the regular sages. They have this what comes up as far as a flower is this big spiky thing, and it's like a white and lavender flower on it. That is so cool. Something like that might also be really useful. I've not done it, but that would actually be a really good. You could get a section of about yay long and add it to your smudge if you wanted to do that. That would be a really good one. But you have to. You usually don't see it, you can't usually buy it at a greenhouse. You've got to get seeds and start them and grow them that way. And that's what I've done. They're perennial. They come back, and they're just gorgeous. I dug up a few because they got lost amongst some calendula that was self-seeding and coming back up. So I was digging it, and I've got them in pots under lights out on the back porch. And just to keep them growing over the winter, so that I can plant them in a better place they don't get totally overgrown with other things. But they're just a gorgeous plant, and I really recommend them. The resins and the woods, copal for protection. Here's the thing about the resins and the woods. The woods you're going to powder up, like sandalwood and all of that. And willow, but willow you want to kind of be careful with willow. But sandalwood, you're going to usually buy it in powdered form anyway. And so gum arabic also is usually in powdered form. Myrrh can be either. I bought it both ways, but copal, dragon's blood, frankincense, gum arabic, myrrh, sandalwood, all of those. You can take those and grind them. Now the copal and frankincense, you're going to buy they're like little small rocks. And so, you're going to have to be careful. You're going to be grinding those. You're going to grind them first, and then you're going to add your herbs if you want to make a blend like that. And they're really nice. It's nice to have them. It coats everything. And it just sort of blends everything together really well. And then from there, you can just simply take your mixture and in little pinches add it to your cauldron. Or where's a cauldron? Oh, here's a cauldron. You can add it to your cauldron. There's already a charcoal in there, but you can add it. Let me see if I can see it. You can add it to your cauldron. It's already burning, and then you just drop little pinches on there. However you want to do it, I like to do it while I'm chanting I might have one chant that I'm using for grinding, or I might do the same one. But then as I'm dropping them onto the charcoal, then I'm definitely going to be focusing that intention and generally doing whatever chant I'm using at the time. And typically I will I like to have I don't like a big flowery spell. I don't like that at all. I don't want to have a whole bunch of words I have to say. I would rather, either do it in English or translate it into Latin and just use basic commands or short phrases. And then maybe have 3 or 4, if I'm using phrases, I might have 3 or 4 of them. I've got them written down so I know what I'm going to say. I generally do that at the time, just before the ritual, I'll do it to come up with something to say. Realistically, you can use spells that other people have done, and that's fine. If something touches your heart and you want to use that, then I say go for it. But realistically, you know what your intention is. And so it doesn't matter what you say. If you need somebody to be gone, then you say, be gone. Be gone, be gone, be gone. You want to name them, do it. Whatever. You want to add a couple more lines, add a couple more lines. But it doesn't have to be this grandiose chant that you're going to do, unless you want to. You can certainly do that if that's your thing. I'm just real direct about stuff, and it's like I just want to get to it, right? And so if I've been sitting there grinding up incense, it's like, okay, I'm ready now, and I'm working it up, right? It's like, okay, and the energy's there, and I want to express that, right? I want to cast that intention out to the universe or whatever. And so, make your words be as simple or as complex as you want to. And again, you can use them as you're grinding or as you're throwing them onto the charcoal. however, you want to do it. It's your spell, it's your working. If you're just simply doing it, if you just want to have some kind of protection ritual, protect me from or protect others from blah blah whatever, or cleanse this space, from all negativity. You can say something like that. It really doesn't matter. You just simply need to say what's in your heart, and have that be part of whatever it is you're doing. But again, I just think that right now we've just got some weird stuff going on, and I think that the division is so great that sometimes it's nice to clear the air with some nice herbal incense, a quick little ritual while you're doing it, and then maybe from there, you can combine them all, and have both protection and cleansing at the same time. So you cleanse the air of negative energies, of vampiric energies, and you raise the vibration to protect. It's realistically, I think it's one of the simplest ways to do this. The other thing you can do with the herbs that you've ground up is you can take and anoint a candle with some oil, some ritual oil of your choosing again, and then roll the candle in the herbal mixture. So you could pour it out onto something, and then just roll the candle in it, and then set the candle there. And you could use a chime candle. A chime candle is small, and you could this is mostly used, but you could take a chime candle and then roll it, anoint it again in oil, and then roll it in that mixture and then burn it. That's another way of doing it if you don't want to do it, or you could do both if you want. If you didn't want to do the cauldron and you didn't have any charcoal or whatever, you could do the same way, and you could let that candle burn down through the herbs and release it that way as well. So, but I just think throwing it on a piece of charcoal is the simplest way to do it, and do it as an herbal incense. That to me is the simplest way to do it. But again, if you want to add a candle into the mix, you could do it that way as well. So. Anyhow, I guess that's all I wanted to say. And I'm going to release this. I don't know if I said this in the beginning. I'm going to release this on Patreon first, and then after, and give folks on Patreon a chance to see it. But then after about a week, I guess, I'll probably go ahead and have it published to the YouTube channel. And when that happens, then I'll go ahead and I'll put it on the blog over on the side panel over there, where all the videos are. The Magickal Musings one is there. This right now, it's restricted to 18 and above, so you don't see it. It's there, but you have to actually go over to in fact, I did a post on it, and it links to the video itself. But I can't even embed the thing in my blog because it's restricted. So I can give a link. So that's what I did. I have a link to it, and or you can just go over to the YouTube channel and watch it there. It was a little bit of a rant about people and their attitude toward bindings and things like that. So anyway, if you want to watch that, that's over there too. But anyhow, that's what I'm going to do. This will go on Patreon first, and then it'll be released to the public after about a week. So anyhow, thanks for watching. I am going to write this up underneath on Patreon. That'll be there. And so that you've got the list. You'll have that there underneath the videos. So I hope you enjoy it, and be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.